Hey, I want to take some time today to answer a question that was sent to me via email by a viewer. This viewer asked me, what are some good production 10mm pistols that they can buy right now? They specified they want it to be something production because they want to go buy it right now. They want to get on the internet or go to a gun shop and be able to just pick one up, because they've got an upcoming trip to Alaska, so they're going to need the gun pretty soon. So that kind of precludes anything like a custom Nighthawk, etc., where they may have to wait a while to get it or have a hard time finding it. So today, I thought I would do just what they asked, and I'll make a list of what I think to be the top 5 production 10mm pistols on the market today. Now, before I actually go any further in this video, I want to say one thing about this list. It is going to be tentative because the Dan Wesson Kodiak is actually available on the market now. I just haven't had a chance to shoot one yet. I've seen it, but I haven't shot it. And because I haven't shot it, I can't put it on the list yet. But unless Dan Wesson completely forgets how to make 1911s, which I don't see happening, this gun is probably going to be on the list. In fact, it'll probably push most of the guns, if not all of the guns that are currently on the list, down a notch and push one of them off. So I just wanted to say that first. The Dan Wesson Kodiak is now out there, but I just haven't had a chance to shoot it myself, so it's not going to be on the list. Now, before I get on with the top 5 here, there are 2 guns I want to mention and give an honorable mention to, just because I think they're great guns. I just didn't think they were great enough to be in the top 5, and I know people are going to ask about one of them specifically. The first one is the Remington R1, the 10mm long slide they have. This gun is a pretty good gun. I'm surprised at how good it is. I have a friend that has one, pretty daggone good gun. I was really surprised at how good it is. And everything I hear from people who own them say they like them. They don't say they're great, but they say they're good. So I think for their price point, they're actually a pretty good gun. So I'm going to give them an honorable mention, but they're not going to make the list. Now, the other one that I'm going to say here is actually a great gun, but it's not going to make the list for a personal reason, is the Kimber, what do they call it? Super Jaguar. I don't know how you pronounce that word. It's got little dots above the A, so I'm confused. Whenever an A has little eyeballs looking back at me, I never know how to pronounce it. Or any letter that has little eyeballs on top of it looking back at me. So, however you pronounce it, this gun, this Kimber Super, the only reason I'm not putting it on the list, even though this is a great long slide 10mm 1911, is because it is designed around an RMR. It does not have an option for co-witnessing with iron sights. I am old. I do not like technology. Well, I do not trust technology. Let's say that. I like technology. I just don't trust it. I got to have iron sights too. So for that reason alone, this pistol isn't going to be on my list, but I will admit it's a pretty daggone good gun. Okay, now starting off the list at number 5 is going to be a gun that might surprise some people. And the only reason it's on my list is because I know 2 people that own them, and I've shot both of them, and they're pretty awesome. And that is the Iver Johnson XL10, the Eagle XL10. This is a long slide Iver Johnson 10mm 1911. Now, this is a fairly basic gun. It's not fancy. Iver Johnson doesn't make a lot of fancy guns. They make a lot of fancy finishes, but their guns are pretty basic. And as far as basic guns go, this one is pretty damn good. Like I say, I know 2 people that own them. I have enjoyed shooting them. I think they're very much worth the money. And another thing about them is they come in well under the $1,000 mark. They come in under $800 in some places. So really good buy when you're looking for a long slide 1911 10mm. And if you are someone looking for that, like I say, this is a great gun, so it deserves to be number 5 on my list. Now, at number 4 on the list is something that might be a little controversial to some people because it's a Kimber. It is the Kimber stainless target long slide 10mm. This is another long slide 1911 10mm, and it is a very nice long slide 10 millimeter. As the name says, it's stainless, so I like stainless guns, so I like it for that reason alone, but it's still a great gun. Now, the reason I say it's going to be controversial is because it's a Kimber. Some people have problems with Kimber, mostly because they don't know how to separate fact from fiction, and they don't know how to do math. A lot of people love to complain about Kimbers on the internet, mostly Colt lovers who have never even held a Kimber. And also a lot of people love to say, oh, this one failed, that one failed. Well, let me break it down for you. Just because you see more Kimbers that someone say fail doesn't mean that they did. And even if they did, you should see more Kimbers fail than any other brand, because whether you like it or not, Kimber sells more 1911s than any other brand. In fact, some years they sell more 1911s than all the other major brands combined. So if you see one or two more Kimbers fail, that should mathematically be the case. And they could still be more reliable. People just don't tend to do the long math, and they also don't pay attention to the fact that most of the stories they see on the internet are third hand from people who made it up to begin with. I've owned multiple Kimbers, 10 millimeters, 45s, loved all of them. They've all been great. I've had a problem with Kim Pro mags a couple of times, but never with the gun itself. And one of my friends that had a Kimber who he said was a total piece of junk and wouldn't work for any reason, when I shot it and put my Wilson Combat mags in it, it shot fine. It just didn't shoot good with his cheap garbage magazines, which is true of most any 1911. So even though it's a Kimber, I like Kimber. And this is a good Kimber, a long slide 10 millimeter Kimber 1911, and it definitely deserves the spot at number 4 on this list, in my opinion. All right, now at number 3, this one might surprise some people here because I think you might be seeing a trend so far in what I'm choosing. But the number 3 position is the Glock 40 MOS. The Glock 40 is the only polymer gun on this list, and it's the first non-1911 we've hit so far on this list. It deserves to be on the list because it is a good gun. It's a great gun as far as performance and practicality is concerned. Now, would I consider it an heirloom that I was going to pass down to someone eventually? No. Is it a gun I think is going to last for a generation or two? No. Just shoot the gun and watch it in slow motion, and you can see the way the gun flexes and the way the gun moves, and you'll be like, wow, that's a lot of wear on some specific points of the gun. So, do I think it's going to be a long-term survivor gun that gets passed down through families? No, I don't think it is. But when it comes to a practical, reliable, 6-inch barreled 10 millimeter pistol that also happens to be higher capacity than the other guns, I think the Glock 40 is a great choice, and you have the option of putting that RMR on it, which makes it an even better choice. So it deserves its position at number 3, even though it's not a 1911 and it's not all steel. Now, the gun at number 2 on this list, it pains me to say it. I do not like this company at all. But keep in mind, my problem with this company is management and ownership, not product. At least not when it comes to their 1911s. And this one is the Springfield Armory TRP long slide 10 millimeter. As much as I hate the company, the gun itself is amazing, and it wouldn't be fair to me to leave it off the list if people are actually asking me what I think the best guns are. This gun is just so good, it has to be on the list. The TRP 10mm long slide is just an amazing gun. And this gun you can also get in an RMR configuration if you want a red dot sight on it. So, excellent gun all the way around, even though the owner is a fucking turd. But it's number 2 on the list, and as much as I hate to say it, it deserves to be there. All right, now at number 1 on the list, I don't think this will surprise very many people out there, especially those that follow me on Instagram. Number 1 on the list of best production 10mm pistols is the Dan Wesson Bruin. I just love this gun. I love the design. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. This is just an awesome 1911. Dan Wesson 1911s are awesome anyway. They are the top of the line as far as production guns are concerned, and this gun is no exception. It is beautiful, it is functional, and it has that 6-inch barrel to get that maximum potency out of the 10mm round. So with this gun, you have a thing of beauty, you have a functional powerhouse, and you have a gun that you know is well made. So this gun, the Dan Wesson Bruin, is, in my opinion, the #1 production 10mm pistol on the market. So there you have my top 5 list of production 10mm pistols. I think you can see a little trend there. In my opinion, unless it's occasionally a Glock, a 10mm pistol should be a 1911. And whether it's a Glock or a 1911, if you're going to use the 10mm round, you should use it in a 6-inch barrel.
Oops.
It's a lady at 46 South Road. 46 South Road.
Station 1 call, retone that please. 10-4. Captain 4 to go to that location also. This is 1-9, is that correct?